Live.
Homie,
Yeah, set it up, set it up. You know, actually, that this greeting, the greeting, assalamu alaikum, you know, the long form.
No.
The long form is assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We're actually live. We're live, actually.
It sounds like a bomb is about to go off.
No. Actually, you know that greeting came about when God made Adam. When God made Adam, that's how the angels greeted him. They said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So it means like, may the peace and mercy of God be with you. So just imagine a greeting. It's just very peaceful and beautiful.
Okay, my video is frozen because of Facebook. Great. Now I'm back. Yeah. Hola, hermano. ¿Cómo estás?
Great. Spanish. My Spanish is as slim as the thread.
You have un poco.
Yeah, we're online. So anyway, Elephant Boss, Mr. Churchill Mambe, thank you very much for like doing this. It's an honor. And
yeah, well, Brian, it feels like the old days at Njoku when we're still writing code. So when you
when I was sitting there
you left me here, and now you are working for the World Bank when I'm still here struggling with
well, it's just a phase. It's just a phase, you know. I want to come back. Yeah, it's just a phase. I always want to come back and continue what we started, even if it means like starting my own thing, because I learned a lot. Yeah, actually.
Well, that's why I'm here. That's why some of us stay here, so that we can keep the foundation for people like you to come back.
But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that, the essence of like people like you back in Cameroon. So maybe you should tell us a bit about like what you have been up to these days, and then that would help us go back to who you are.
Well, first of all, is the audio okay?
Yes, for me it's okay.
No, I'm talking about my side because I'm just using the phone and the microphone.
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Phone and the microphone of the phone. That's interesting.
You can be a rapper, man.
I used to be a rapper. Well, okay. What I do nowadays, of course, a lot of consulting. We've taken a couple of projects from clients in New York, clients in Texas, clients in France. Yeah, we do a lot of consulting. With the crisis, lockdowns, and you know, the situation, we can't really be pushing Njoku as we were pushing before, because Njoku is long-term, high margin, high scale ability, potentials. So it also means, what people don't know is it means a lot of investment. In the heydays when we're really pushing Njoku very fast, we're looking sometimes at just invest only on servers, like $500 a month, only on servers for the teams and marketing. Yeah, it's like 200, and only on server we spend like 280,000 sometimes monthly just for the servers. And now because we need to keep pushing and marketing and all of that. But with the crisis, then investors had to back off and say, hey, we can't keep pushing money because situations are critical, as the bank people will say.
I see.
So for now we're doing a lot of consulting, and then that's helping us to keep Njoku afloat and serve the clients we already serve, like Dangote, Sibling Erash, ABCI Solutions, a couple of jobs. Yeah, we have a couple of clients that are paying Njoku currently for the services we offer them. Yeah, so it's consulting and then keeping Njoku alive and keep pushing. Of course, you remember POSA.
I remember POSA,
Yeah, we now, I partnered, I'm the technology partner with Otto Beseka. You know Beseka, of course. It's your
I do. Yeah.
So we built a new POSA platform, the third version, which has a different twist. I can't really say much, but that's one of the things we're doing now. We are actually at the stage of going to market, so that we can help digital payments work seamlessly in Cameroon for a start and across Africa. So but in the coming months, I'm sure we'll be able to tell the world more about what we have been able to achieve for the past maybe 12 months with
wow.
digital payments and POSA.
I can't wait. I can't wait. So that,
Yeah, of course. Of course, the tech guys we always want to know what's up. Always the
yeah.
next thing. What's the next thing? What's the next big thing? But yeah, we're doing some pretty good innovation with payments, with phones and desktops and other devices. We're making it very scalable. Yeah, but it's going to be, that's one of the core things I've been working on, along with Njoku, of course,
That's
and
the original elephant.
along with the consulting I used to do on the side, but now it's taking some center stage. People have to keep going. We've been lucky that we get some projects up to like $10,000.
Oh wow, that's much money. Sometimes if I get that kind of money, I'll retire.
Come on,
I'm
$10,000
joking.
is no more.
That's
No
what I'm
more.
joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's actually a very big and good move, because not only are you waiting as tech guys, but there's this guy Alan Kay. I think he once said that the best way to like wait for the future and kind of predict it is to invent it. So you're not just
Oh
waiting for
yeah,
the
yeah.
next, yeah, you're also making it actually.
The best way to predict the future is actually to invent it. There's no other way, Zuckerberg saw that there'll be a future where people will be connected on social media, and then he created it, and bingo, we have billions of people connected daily through his creation.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure
and that's a vision.
the Zoom founder also left Cisco,
Oh,
and
Cisco.
he was with Cisco. He was building a conference solution, conference calling solution for Cisco. He creates.
Is it Jabba? Is it Jabba?
Jabba?
Is it
I don't know.
Yeah, because I use Jabba at work. It's Cisco. Jabba is owned by Cisco, so they do conferencing, and that's like
The
their
guy
main
was
conference
working
solution.
on the Cisco platform that he created, and then he realized he could build something better.
You just copied
and he built Zoom, and we are using Zoom right now. So he created the feature that he wanted to see. So yeah, you wanted to create Topoh spaces. You wanted a place where people can just chat with you, like, and then share with the world, talk about everything and nothing. And then here we are. You have the TED Topoh spaces. You were thinking it too much. I remember when we were chatting the other night. I mean, like, I was first of all surprised you were up at 2, 3 a.m. But then you were talking about creating a podcast. Let's do a podcast. You want to make it official. But this is it. Just do a Zoom call, share it, and then
and thank you a lot, because like you said, I was overthinking it, like I don't know what is in my head. I always want to nail things down to the details and end up like complicating it. But when you said then just do that, and I realized that, oh, that's it, and here we are now. So thank you for that too.
Okay, cool. Well,
so tech-wise too, like in Cameroon and Africa in general, a lot of people say that Africa in general and Cameroon in particular is like a virgin forest, because there's a lot to squeeze out of it in terms of like value by creating applications. And also from the definition of Cameroon as a developing country, the word developing means there's a lot to build, whereas developed, as opposed to develop, which means like already done. So we have a lot of things to squeeze out, but people don't know where to start. So can you tell us like how you got into the tech company? So you, as a model, those who want to get in and don't know can see your tracks and perhaps follow it.
Well, come on. I started some 17 years ago. No, 17, maybe 15. Come on. It's a long time ago. So, how do you want me to remember there's a lot happening now. So a lot has happened in tech space. 3 months is a lot of time, but now 15 years. That's a long time ago.
I am more interested in the feeling, like let me give you an example. From my part, hearing about computers and feeling that is this complex thing, and then taking a step forward, getting lost, and then maybe finding you and you showing me stuff. So these kinds of experiences.
Well, It was one thing leading to another. As a young man, all I wanted to do was, I'm very inquisitive, by the way. You know that because you work with
I
me.
know.
I'm very inquisitive. So I always wanted to know how these things work. You know, you look at Yahoo Messenger. I was like, how does this work? Yahoo Mail, how does this work? Then there was no Facebook. Then there was no YouTube. There was no video conferencing.
Yeah, right.
Internet was like 22 kilobits per second. That's 22 kilobits per second.
That's a snail.
Yeah, it was really slow. But yeah, I wanted to know how these things work. So I started digging, and then I found a new world that blew my mind. And then I realized with this new world, you can just sit in your house with the computer and you start a company. And then you have clients across the world. Yeah, but it took a couple of years. But yeah, so with tech, the advantages we have is with the internet and the computer, a young smart man or woman can sit in their small Karabout house in Moliko or in Munyenge. As long as they have electricity, they can build something or work for clients anywhere in the world and make even 100,000 pounds a week, as long as they have the skills. So it opens up opportunities for, if you have the skills, you can make 100,000 pounds a week. Yeah. It opens a lot of opportunities for young Cameroonians who are smart to not give up or not only think the only thing I can do now is to go to Polytech or QS, because when I left school, that's all we had. If you want to be an engineer,
you always said that actually.
But no, there was another option, which is you can go online and you start learning how to build apps, building solutions, or just how to market apps, or just how to manage databases. And you sit in wherever you are. You could be in my 17 park with your laptop, as long as there's internet coverage, and you're talking and assisting a client somewhere in Norway, and they're paying you through our meet. And you can take care of yourself and take care of your family without falling bush, because not everybody's opportunity to fall bush.
Yeah, and this bush should just make you grow old faster.
It has merit, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for that. That's really insightful. But then, with most of these things, when you can hear that, go to the internet, connect, chat with the client, and it pumps you, right? But then after that, there is a lot underneath. So it's just like you just showed us the tip of the iceberg. There is a lot to it in terms of the psychology, of like getting ready, managing all of that kind of heat that people cannot see in books. So can you like tell us some of those? How for example, how was your experience with your first client from when you learned that I can build something and then put it out there? I know you've had many clients.
It took me 2 years to get to a level where I could serve clients. So it took me 2 years of studying at least 5 hours a day in the cyber cafes in Boya before I could be able to serve clients. And the first few clients, somebody would just come to me and say, I want a website for this or that, I'll give you 5,000. Man, come on, this is the young guy that was in the cyber cafe begging to use internet for 300 pounds an hour. I couldn't even pay that. And then, somebody gave me 5,000 to just use that same computer and build a website within a couple of hours. HTML, CSS, a bit of JavaScript, and I have 5,000. Then I'll host it on a free hosting server. I use the free domain name server, and then I give them the website. And the next day they come and give me 5K. Yeah.
What did you buy with your first 5K?
I don't remember.
First you not buy soya.
I went back home and supported my aunt with some of that dough, and then
did you buy soya?
Let me see. I don't know, man. I can't remember. This is 15 years ago. Come on.
I know.
Yeah. But yeah, Cameroonians, young Cameroonians, even the smartest of us, there's certain things we don't know, especially on the internet age. We don't know much about taking responsibility, like knowing that if I tell a client I'm going to deliver something in 2 days, if after 1 day I can't deliver, I need to communicate. Brings us to the next point. Communication. As Cameroonians, we don't know much the value of communication in business. But the young guy could be somewhere in Ikuna, in his house with the internet, But it doesn't matter because on the internet, everybody's supposed to be professional and there's a certain standard required. So you need to be very time conscious. You need to take responsibility. You need to be able to communicate in case there are delays. But as Cameroonians, these are things they don't train us, they don't teach us. They don't even teach us how to make decisions on our own. We always feel like people have to tell us everything we have to do, you know. Somebody can even get up and say, hey, I will just start saying on the computer, I'm making my money. No, they'll start thinking that what are my parents going to think? And before you know it, they'll be like, go and write it now. And then you're like, okay, like a sheep, you know. Yeah, you're just gonna write it now. If you fail, you come back home and say, okay, what next? Go and write police. Why are you laughing? It's the truth. It's
because it's too true that the truth can tickle the mind, you know, sometimes, depending on what side of the truth you're standing.
Well, I remember we're talking about truth and I told you I am a truth person. I always like telling the truth. Sometimes it gets me in hot water, but I don't relent. I always tell the truth.
Yeah, and I remember a discussion too. That truth is like really delicate. So since it's delicate, it's not all the time that one can just release it. You see, that's why we have secret societies and organizations that manage the truth, not to hide it. I don't mean the negative one.
Well, Brian, I don't see with you on that. I don't see with you eye to eye on that because
true. I get it.
The most powerful tool that even empowered me is the internet, and there is nothing hidden on the internet. And I told you, this secret society, whatever they have as secrets, I'm sure those secrets and more are all found on the internet. So they have no value anymore because the
Let me give you an example.
Open society has given us a lot of truths and values that we all can benefit from with no limits, no racism, no segregation, nothing. Free for all.
Very true, actually. Very true. Yeah, very true, actually. But my point about the truth and releasing it in like doses is imagine, let's say that when the atomic bomb was being developed, right? Imagine that all of that knowledge was just put out there. And even here in the Manhattan Project, is it the Manhattan Project, where those that were developing that that whole endeavor, it was hidden. The public didn't know. Scientists like Richard Feynman, Oppenheimer, all of them went there. People did not know, even their families. So if they had released the truth to the public about that endeavor, then that would compromise a lot of things, including national security, which is like the bedrock of like a civilization. So that's what I mean, that the truth has to be hidden. Like, not that you hide it or tell lies, but you release it in doses and at the right time.
Oh, but the project to make the atomic bomb was a bad thing, not a good thing. So.
Oh, okay.
Bad. The people working on it are already bad people. So not being truthful is the least of their worry.
Okay, well, that could be an example, but I'm trying to show you an application of what I mean by releasing the truth. And there are other cases, especially when it comes to national security.
I told you the truth shall set you free. I didn't write that. The Christians tell you.
Yes, it will set you free. And I'm not saying that changing the truth into a lie. I'm just saying releasing it in doses. Take a kid, for example.
If you want to be free, just be truthful. If you want to be held bondage by your own secrets and lies, then go ahead and not be truthful. Nobody can be forced. Yeah, but I believe in the truth. I always believe telling the truth is the only way for me to sleep well at night. Because I already have insomnia just because of my own thoughts that keep running. Sometimes people don't understand, but the reason I play the piano is so that I can stop my mind from running so I can sleep. Yeah, so I got into piano and music. Because once you're pressing the keys, you get to only focus on the next key. It's like solving math. Next key.
Yeah, right.
Do that for 30 minutes, your mind focuses on those keys and it's easy on the mind and it's entertaining. Then you can go and sleep. You're relaxing. It's like meditation.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. Back in the day, a lot of people had other practices. Some will go do like arching, like to take one arrow. I actually want to learn that because it takes a lot of discipline, focus, but the idea is not really to focus. The idea is to get you to make it be second nature, just like you when you're playing that key.
When your mind is running, you need something that can stop it. So the piano is what I use to stop it.
So maybe you'd help me put this out there then, because when I was a kid, right? Maybe I'm still a kid. I mean, it's relative, but but in Bishop Rogan they taught us music, but to me that was very boring at that early stage. They were teaching us this treble clef and soft notation.
The bass clef,
Exactly, soft notation.
major chord.
And the worst thing is that music used to be the course before lunch. Can you imagine? I'm there thinking of my food, and then this guy is telling me of treble clef and things like that.
And so treble clef and bass clef and octaves and inversions.
And I thought that was the most useless course at that point, but today I realize that's one of the most foolish thing I was thinking, because you just give an example of how music helps you sleep, and there is even more to that, because it teaches you how to experience, manage, and deal with harmony. Because as you're going, you're not just playing things that are out of tone. You have to respect tonality and experience and inject like a sense of beauty into the whole process. So maybe you should help me tell us like the essence of music in maybe science and in the life of an innovator and an engineer.
Well, when we write software codes, the world stops. You know that feeling? I want to take you from what you know to what you don't know. So when you and I, when we are writing code, like you're writing an algorithm and your mind is on that algorithm, everything around you stops. The only thing you think of, your whole mind is on, why is it not working? What can I do? How can I fix it? Especially if you have a bug. Now, music is the same, but now it takes you away from the computer. So when I'm playing, my mind is focused on the next key and the next key, and the world stops again. So I needed something that was not a television or a screen that would help my mind stop. And that was not programming, because if I spend the whole day writing software codes or thinking about software codes, I cannot come in the evening before I sleep and I sleep with software codes in my mind. So I needed something that could totally disconnect me, and I could effectively get to the same state as a programmer without programming. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I see.
Yeah, so when I play, my mind, you know how the world freezes. Yes.
Yeah,
when you're on the keyboard, when you're on the computer keyboard and writing software codes, the world freezes. Like there is no worry, there is nothing else happens, only the codes in front of you. Same, when I'm playing the piano, the world freezes, nothing happens except the next chord. If I'm supposed to play a C first inversion, C major scale first inversion, I'm going to play E minor second inversion, my mind is focusing on those chords. And yeah, you can't blame yourself for hitting the music class in this bigger call. It wasn't practical. They didn't come and use what you like to teach you the music. Okay, maybe if they told you that this Kotoba song you hear every day, you can play it, and then then they start playing it, you're like, wow, okay, I can play that song. I just heard it on the radio or I just watched the TV, and then you would have been more intrigued.
Okay, I see. I see. Yeah, actually, it's just a little bit practical, because we had a lab. Like that's a really good school. The infrastructure, the setup for music. We had a lab. I think we had at a certain point we had 2 sets of xylophones. We had sets of drums. We had like piano. Some of them were on paper, printed, so that you start just the paper, so you get used to all of those. And we made our own music because we had mass every day. And then a lot of prayers where we sang. So yes, it was a bit practical, but it didn't, maybe for some people, we didn't go towards their taste, because they perhaps want to teach you how to play a song like Great Hallelujah, but somebody may want to dance to Cut the Bass, like you give an example.
So that's what I say, it wasn't practical, it wasn't localized. If the teacher was teaching you a song from Tata King, then you'll be more intrigued because it's a song next to you. But they're teaching you some song composed in Rome, and you're here trying to be playing it. You have no emotional connection to the song. Well, I can say all of this because I used to be a teacher, remember? So.
Oh yes, I mean you taught me. I mean you taught me a
Before
lot
that,
of stuff.
my first job was being an instructor at Trustech. So yeah, I got to learn how to teach people, especially in our context. Take people from what they know to what they don't know. It's the easiest way to teach anybody anything.
Yeah, but it could be very frustrating too, because like in my own experience, I could get passionate about like especially this computer stuff, and then I get to see a lot of people that come and tell me they want to do this. I could see the passion burning in their eyes, almost like they're in love. You see what I mean? And then 2 days after, I don't see them. And 2 days after, they're gone. So I used to wonder that, man, like, this is something that a lot of people have taken time to absorb it. You can't do it in 2 days. So did you face that when you were trying to teach? And how do you actually, like, try to enforce that passion or maintain it for those that are learning?
Nowadays, when people come to me that they need me to mentor them, because I do a lot of mentoring, I first of all have to test their abilities in terms of their intellectual ability, but I also have to test their ability in terms of discipline, and I also have to check if they're just excited or if they are in for the long haul. And I have, over time now, I know I don't need to talk to you for more than 30 minutes. I already know if you are going to be serious or not. And if you're not going to be serious, again, I give you the truth. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't mentor you.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. I think you once gave me the truth, and let me tell you about it. I mean, you've always been giving me the truth. I'll give you like 2 instances. So the first one, when I first knew about you, is because I was bored. So I enrolled. I was taking C programming, and I was interested in building something. You see, so I saw the Windows operating system. I saw this graphical user interface, and I wanted to build something like that. So I took a course, and they were teaching me how to program write a program that multiplies 1 times 1 and 2. I'll write it. Write a program that takes input and prints. I'll write it. But I'm like, man, I want to build Windows, and these guys are sending me to the command line. So I got bored, and I was just walking, and then Dre saw me and brought me to you, and you explained all of technology in 5 minutes. Like I remember my mind just going like. Like when you told me about model view controller, that you have your data, which is like the model, you have your view, which is what the user sees, and then you have the controller, which is the traffic cop that takes the data and puts to the user. And if the user interacts with it, it takes that interaction. I was like, man, so thanks for that. That was one truth you told me. And then the other truth.
Let's talk like the Christian. You should thank God.
Yeah. I would thank Allah, mashallah.
You thank Allah. You made our path cross, and then they used me like an angel at that point in your life. So
I really thank God for that.
Yeah,
I really thank God for that, because those, like the first 5 minutes, like I looked at what you said, and I remember UB Junction. I'm saying that times when there is traffic and I see a cop like conducting traffic, like you that you're coming, go this way. You that you're coming, good. I saw it so clearly. And then the second truth is that I so when I started, I think you gave me a task in PHP. So I was trying to do that, and I was doing Java at that time too in school. So I tried to do a task in PHP. I got blocked, and I came onto it. I mean, like I want to do Java, and you told me that no, you don't work like that. That if I have to work with you, I have to be focused. That hit me like one of Muhammad Ali's punches. He gave me like bam. So that's when I realized that, oh, I'm not here to joke. And this man is not joking. And it really woke me up in a way. So that's another truth. Thank you for that.
Well, we have to thank the gods of the Kumbalu, Tata Obasewa Merimo.
I wish I knew how to answer that. It's kind of shameful. I can't.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's just an yeah.
So, and also about, it's good you mentioned like the gods. I was chatting on this Topoh Spaces. I was chatting with a friend and classmate and called Jackson. We had a really beautiful chat. He's in China studying soil sciences. So I was kind of joking with him that he studied the pH of the soil so much so that they added a D behind it and give him a PhD.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Nice one.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so he was telling me that like to change Cameroon, we have to have a mental revolution. And I said, okay. And I said, yeah, if we have a mental revolution, I remember that chat with you, and I quickly put it in there that we need the truth. And if you're dealing with the truth too, you need some kind of a logical framework to manage that. And by logical framework, I mean the laws of logic, of contradiction and non-contradiction, where something cannot be true and false at the same time. So it brings me now to this idea of like gods, where you say like the gods of the Komibalui. So there's one thing about like truth and worship and gods. And so if you have gods, especially those that you carve as sticks, you see what I mean?
Yeah, go
I
ahead, go
feel,
ahead.
yeah, I feel like there is some kind of contradiction there, because first of all, if we are in a family in the business of making those sticks, right? Let's say you, I, and my uncle, and you're making that, I would go to the forest with you and help you cut a stick or a tree. And then we go and you carve it and make it and paint it. And then we take that and go and sell it to somebody as a god, or go and install it somewhere as a god. And then people will come and worship that. But we went and took it from the forest. So don't you think in that sense, logically it doesn't make sense? Like this whole idea of gods? And if so, I think it affects our cultures. You see, may be fundamentally like preventing ourselves from seeing the truth if we have like gods, and especially sticks.
Well, for starters, the 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 thing they carve, I don't know which culture you're talking about, because in my village we don't have those, but these things they carve,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
They are representations, not the real thing.
Okay. Okay.
It's like an embodiment of
Uh-huh.
the belief. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just like a blueprint.
Okay.
It's like a class of the instance, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
The
right,
class
right.
is not the blueprint, and the instance is the instance creates the object. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but to me, I look at it globally. If
Okay.
you go to India, some of them worship
Mm-hmm.
cows, some of them worship idols. If you
Mm-hmm.
go to some parts of India, some of them are Buddhism, like part of
Yeah.
China, part of Nepal, parts of South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The thing is, you can't judge what people believe in, right? Especially if
Okay.
they choose to believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is not what they believe in, but we can look at a tool that has been used against them to emancipate them, if that's a word. I didn't go to school,
Okay.
so sometimes some words, I don't know what they mean, I just use them.
You went to the real
Yeah.
school, man.
So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I know the thing is, our ancestors had these beliefs that helped them to come up with, if they didn't come up with much, maybe they came up with the food we eat before an arrow. I mean, if somebody would come up with an arrow, that's technology, and the person was creative.
Mm-hmm.
So since we had fufu and arrow, ikpang, and the rest, and were colonized, how many new
Bomochabo.
foods have we created?
Mm-hmm.
Since they brought us, let me just make it a bit controversial. Since they gave us
Yeah.
Christianity and their education, where we'll be learning how to do land reclamation or irrigation in Holland, when we could learn how to do it in Douala and go and see how it's done. Since they give us all those things, their political system, their religious system, their educational system, and their media, how many indigenous meals have we come up with? Let me just start with food. How many have we come up with? But our ancestors created these foods for us. How did they do that? Is it because the white man told them that take cocoa leaves, take cocoyam, peel it, grate it, put it in the leaf, put it in a pot, put pepper and these spices, then boil it for like an hour, and then that's a meal for people to eat? Is it the white man that told them that? Is it the
Not sure.
colonialists? People always say the colonialists helped us. But
No.
yeah, talking about gods, yes, those gods that you say were not logical, I could say help them to at least have something they could create for themselves.
Okay.
In my village, people know how to set traps, hunt with traps. It's in no book, but it transfers from person to person. But if the colonial education gets there, how will they hunt? You have to get a rifle. You have to. But is it the same terrain? So it gets diluted and you become disempowered. So a hunter that learns the Western way of hunting and goes to hunt here in Fako, here in Boya, will have a hard time being capable to hunt compared to the local guy that learned from the ancestral ways of hunting.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So now let's transpose a bit. Let's transpose, or let's do some induction like in physics. The person that learns his spiritual ways from the Western imported way will not be able to get enough spiritual knowledge and food compared to somebody that gets the spiritual ways from ancestors, just like hunting.
Yeah,
so,
true.
So I'm just saying our people are disempowered when they're disconnected from their ancestors. And we don't even know it. If you look at every country that's colonized and that later had to evolve and grow, my special example will be China, or all of those guys like South Korea. The first thing they did were to go back to their roots and focus on what their ancestors would have done, what the ancestors would have taught, and then they worked on that. First, understand what the ancestors felt, because this is generational wealth of knowledge that we have lost because of the colonizers.
Yeah, true.
It's been years and years of knowledge transfers from parent to child, many generations. And we now think that knowledge is stupid and we ignore it. But like I said, that knowledge is what gives us for and arrow. If there's nothing, at least give us for and arrow. Give us Ekpang, give us Achu.
Bongo Chabi.
Colonizers didn't give us that. And colonizers don't even know what that is. They give us pizza, hamburgers, bread, and these things are not healthy for us.
Yeah,
and we don't even know it. So most of the things they give us are not healthy for us. But when we try to say, listen, these things are not healthy for us, let's go back to our roots and understand ourselves first before we go out now and connect with the world as equals. People will think we are hating on one thing or another. No, we're trying to point out the truth, as we always say, the truth. So,
the truth, that technical thing.
The carvings can be irrational, but unless you want to argue hundreds of years of African generational wealth transferred from mother to child or from father to son, you can't argue that because you're just living one of the generations. But these are things that have passed through many generations. And the colonial people decided to tell us that those things are not good for us.
Yeah. Sorry. I can argue a little bit in the sense that, yes, it's a generational, it's like this transfer of knowledge, like you said, it from generation to generation. But there are cases where, let's say pizza. Imagine we had pizza and then pizza was transferred from generation to generation, and in our generation we realize that it's not that healthy. You see that it means we can tweak it and make it like better. You see what I mean? Whatever better means. So yes, knowledge can come. That's why I went through the idea of mental revolution, and after that, truth, and then logic, so that we can assess the way things are, look at the current situations, look at what we got, and then tweak it. If we take mathematics, for example, there are times when in math, if you had said something like infinity, the teacher will say, young man, don't use foul language in my class. You see what I mean? Just infinity, because that was what they got from the previous generations. That maybe didn't make sense. But today, when they looked at it, they kind of tweaked it and incorporated that into their way of thinking. So in terms of like maybe the carvings and those, I'm not saying that they're bad, but I just want us to chat and put it out there too. So I think if we look at the logic in it and also the idea, that's why I painted the picture that we go and cut the tree and then come and try to use it. So if there is a God out there that made that tree, then we are kind of disrespecting that God, in the sense that it's like you throwing a party and I come to your party and then maybe I start giving credit to someone that doesn't even live in that town of yours. If you see what I mean.
Well, you said if there is a God out there. So
yes.
So if there is a God out there. But now what if that helps the people to have an image of themselves that is strong enough for them to realize that they can build their roads, they can build their hospital, they can get better educational system for their kids, they can be able to build a safe and secure community, and they can live happily, they can have good water systems in their homes, and they can start businesses and serve their communities and make life better for them. What if it's that carving that can help them achieve this kind of self-worth, that can make them believe that they can do anything they want to do? What if it's that carving? Would you call it a bad thing?
Well, you just hit me with one of the greatest tools of utilitarianism, like the end justifies the means. So I mean, we could chat about that for hours, but I can't relate now.
We have all these colonial things, but people don't feel like they can build their own roads. I mean, you have the stones around you. You have the beauty men not far from you in Limbe, but you don't know that you can build a road. And when you build a road, you're like, oh, why man get sent? Child, why man name? Child. These things are engraved in us. We need to start realizing that we have the brain, we have the hands, and we can do magic. We can do amazing things. But do you know why we don't feel that? Maybe, just maybe, what if it's those carvings that would have made us realize that we can carve our own God, which means we can build our own homes, which means we can set up our own roads, which means we can generate our own electricity. These things have a way of playing with the mind.
Yes, but let's look at reality then. So I'm not sure it's in all of Cameroon and all of Africa that, let's say, practices like Christianity and Islam and whatever faith is out there have been installed. There are some places, if you go to the Pygmies, for example, and maybe if you go to the rainforest, there are some tribes that are in there that have the carvings and they still have this, let's say, original practices from their ancestors. And if we look at it, they may have hospitals, they may have roads, maybe, of which is very hard to get there. You often gonna discover these people when you're lost. You see what I mean? So those people have not really incorporated this practices, but they don't have the things that you're saying that maybe they would have if they were practicing what their ancestors gave them. So I'm trying to say that not necessarily. You see, so what if, again, we take what is brought, look at it too, not just consume it. You see what I mean? Not just consume and then just take the word for it. Look at it, assess it, and take what is good, eliminate what is not good, merge it with yours, and then proceed. You see?
Okay, we've talked about what ifs. You've talked about what ifs. Let's talk concrete.
Yeah. Okay.
China was colonized. China was colonized. They went through 100 years of shame, like what Africa is going through now. What are the first things they did? If you go and look at Mao, the chairman Mao, first things he did were very drastic. He cut off all colonial things out of China, and he made a lot of enemies. He lost 40 million Chinese people. But today, 40 million people died because of him being so drastic. But today, 800 million people were taken out of poverty line within 30 years. But it took maybe 60 years to get there. Yes, so we can't say what ifs anymore. You go to China, most of them are Buddhist, not Christian. But they were colonized, which means Christianity was their first religion when they colonized. But they had to switch back everything. But decolonization is something deeper. We can talk religion because it's the one that we see more. But decolonization has to do with media. Like, I don't watch TV anymore. You know that.
Oh, wow. I'll try to do that.
I don't watch program TV. I can watch Netflix. I can watch YouTube because I watch what I want to watch, not what somebody somewhere wants me to watch. So they program my mind. No. Okay. So we have to decolonize, like education, our educational system. You cannot be teaching me land irrigation in Norway or extensive agriculture in Brazil. No, teaching extensive agriculture in Limbe, case study CDC. It's close to me. I can walk into it.
Yeah, true.
Land irrigation or land reclamation at the Vuri River in Douala. Yeah. Because the land was reclaimed. And then you show me that this land where Dangote built the factory, it was it was water before. They reclaimed it and now it became land. They planted trees and bam. Now it's even land that has been sold and set up a factory employing thousands of Cameroonians. You get? So our education too needs to be decolonized. Then of course our spiritual system needs to be decolonized too. This is where people get too itchy because they don't want to hear anything that takes away their Jesus from them. Man, then you start
Yeah.
asking, what are or
Yeah,
maybe
true,
they're
true, true.
allies from them, you know? But
Yeah,
no,
right.
our people need to be decolonized, connect back to our ancestors, get all the learnings that our ancestors had over the years with our reality, and then take these learnings, innovate upon, which is the next thing you said about the pygmies. The pygmies, maybe they're not innovating upon this. They're not
Okay,
trying to look
true.
at other people to add into what they have. They're sticking only to. It's also bad to just stick to what you have. So you need to look for, but first, what you have needs to be your base. Then you innovate, then you transfer these new learnings to your kids. They too will take what they have from you, and learn from what the Chinese are doing, from what the people in Dubai or Middle Easterners are doing, or what the Europeans are doing, and then see what is better. And innovation is trial and error. You try and see if it works for your people. Then that's new learning in your environment, and you transfer it to the next generation. Yeah, but we have been disconnected from our roots, and so we don't even have an identity of ourselves. And that makes a lot of us have very, very bizarre insecurities. Like a young man would think that he cannot start a company because that's reserved only for the rich.
Man, that's I need to flock him.
Well, of course, like that. You know, a young man will say, I need to pay for that job. No, you need to go and get the skills, find any way necessary, any means necessary to get the skills and the experience. You're working at the World Bank today not because you were praying to God.
Oh, part of it. I was backing it with
God.
action. No. Sorry. I'm just trying to say yes. I worked for it, and then I was just doing what you're saying. Like I worked for it, but spirituality was like as essential in it.
It's a belief system. Sometimes it just
Yes,
helps
right.
us calm ourselves down. It
Yeah,
helps us to cope with the psychological traumas and things like that. Yes, I know that. There's a good side of it. Just that our people are focused more on that and they forget the real part, which is the work. Because he who works even without prayers might succeed. He who prays without work will never succeed.
Yes, very, very true. Unless somebody uses anyway, yeah. From the definition of succeed or success, yeah, it will be hard. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you have a better chance just working even without praying than just praying without working. So,
yeah, I see.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, but man, life is really hard. Like making and that, yeah, it's really hard. And that you remember when we were saying when we're chatting and I told you like love is an achievement. so
yeah, but it's relative for sure, but it cannot really be an achievement. It's more of conditioning the society. Okay, let's talk marriage. We were talking marriage that day. Let's just talk love.
Yeah.
Some people feel getting married is an achievement. But others who are married will tell you when you're married, it's a lot of work every day. That's what you're saying the other time.
Yes, yes, right.
You work every day.
It's a garden for me.
But the thing is it a crime to be single?
No.
Is it really?
No, it's not a crime to be single, like especially if it makes you see clearly instead of jumping into something that every day is like a karate kind of, you see what I mean?
But at the same time, as you grow older, you need companions. You need a companion, that's a need. You need a companion, and maybe you need to have the next generation. You know, you can't live this life without the next generation. That's a need too. But at the same time, people should stop making it feel like getting married is more like an achievement. And if you're not married, it means you're a failure in life. No, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
or if the guy is not married, it means that he's a playboy. He just wants to be playing with young girls. And if a woman is not married, it means that she's either cursed or she's a bad woman, or maybe she cannot get pregnant. It's so complicated, but people have a lot to deal with out here that we need to know how we approach these things. And okay, like we were saying earlier, these are generational knowledge transfer. This is like a bad side of generational knowledge transfer because our people have always had this. But the other day I was thinking, I realized these things came to us only after colonizers came. Because in my village, if a man has a kid with this woman, the next day he's having a kid with the other woman, they don't criticize him for having kids in that house and that house. No.
Yeah, polygamy.
They just say, I hope he's taking care of his kids. That's in my village. That's the base. So in my culture, I don't think this bohuki, as we say, marriage is bohuki. Bohuki is you can get married today to this woman. It doesn't work out. You leave, you go and marry the next person, or you go back home. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And it was not a taboo. But nowadays, and some men in the village, I'm not sure, they will have their kids and they'll stay in their home, and that's it. You know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, even like about this polygamy, or like a man being in the village and could have like children with many women. In Islam, there's polygamy, and one of the reasons is because of lust, because they say that like lust is one of the greatest things that can bring down a human. Like it's the weight from lust is so heavy that it could prevent you from realizing who you are or exploring the powers within you. Take porn, for example. Like if one is like engaging in porn, you start becoming this kind of the different kind of a person. It will be perhaps hard for you to use your real powers, because maybe all the porn you just be transferred into this virtual world where I don't know, you know what I mean?
No,
Maybe you don't know what I mean.
It's addiction.
Yes, that's one part. But through the vehicle of lust, right? It makes you, it puts you really deeper. It's like this fly that gets stuck on a honey jar and you get stuck on it. So they, as a belief system, they've studied from generation to generation and seen that
generational the generational knowledge. Well, this is what colonizers locked us up, and we don't see it.
Yeah, right.
They have kept their generational wealth. The Jewish people, they have kept their generational wealth.
Oh, yes. Yes, right.
You know, the Chinese people have gone back after colonization, and they're keeping their generational wealth of education, and they're adopting others. What are Africans doing?
We should go back to
accepting some generational knowledge from the Jewish people and clinging on it like it's there. Are you serious right now? You're disconnected from your reality. But that's a different topic. But at the same time, we need to start realizing that we need to get practical, pragmatic, and real about because the end of all is our people should be comfortable.
Yeah.
The average Cameroonian or the average community in Cameroon should be comfortable. And why not? We deserve the best. We should get good roads. We should get good education, good school, good hospital, good security in terms of the street lighting and the police force and all of that. And even using technology, we need these things. And to get these things, we need to work for them, not pray for them. You can pray from now to the next 100 years, nothing is going to happen. Especially if you're praying from some other people's ancestral doctrines, you know. But what I'm looking at is, let's get these things first. After we get these things and everybody's comfortable, then let's talk God.
If we're alive. if we're alive to be able to get all these things.
Christianity, Islam, ancestral worship, I don't care. But our people are not hungry. And somebody is not capitalizing on the fact that they are hungry to extort money out of them with some promise of a better life after they're dead.
Whenever I think of all of these, and especially progress, and I think of like home and what we can achieve, and then I look at reality, I just get so discouraged. I just feel like something should just come and sink all of us, or just burn all of us alive. That we should just start afresh. Like there are many tales that have said that.
All our people do is pray. All we do is pray. We don't even know what we pray for. We pray for good job. We pray to fall bush. But why are we not working for good roads, working for good hospitals, working for good educational system, working for good health care? Why?
Yeah.
How we are going to give us those things?
Yeah, and I mean, also, but even if sometimes, like in Cameroon, for example, you have experienced that firsthand. it's sometimes you could have a system that gets in your way. Apart from the fact that you yourself get in your way by trying to pray instead of this, also the system that gets in its
Everything is
own way and in your way.
it's also one of the things the colonialists gave us. They said, the governments need to decolonize.
Mm-hmm.
As a people, we need to decolonize. Then we'll start progressing.
And that's one of the hardest things to do, to start decolonizing. How do they say that thing? Decolonizing. I mean, it's a hard process because yeah, and it's really very, very hard because look at the Matrix. I don't know if you're a fan of the Matrix. That's one of my favorite movies.
I think it's Topoh 1 or 2. You mentioned the Matrix was like this.
Yes. Cool. The Matrix. I mean, like
the red pill and the blue pill. One of them was to decolonize your mind, decolonize you from the virtual colony, which is the Matrix. So Africans are in a matrix. In most of my comments on Facebook, I always tell people, you're arguing, but you're in a matrix. And when you're in a matrix, you don't even know. You're living a dream. You're
exactly.
You can smell it.
Yeah, you can smell it. You're in a prison that you can smell. You don't know you're in it. So how do we even start decolonizing? Like, who will be our...
We need a small group of people like the Morpheus and his Trinity and the rest.
Who will be those for us?
And then we start taking people out of the matrix by giving them red pill.
Yeah, who would be the Morpheus? Who would be the Neo? And yeah. Well,
why do you think I'm making the crazy post on Facebook? I've been writing this crazy post so people can start thinking. They can start thinking about decolonizing.
That's a bit dangerous, though. I don't mean dangerous from a pessimistic point of view, because I want to trace the roots of the matrix a little bit to show you how discouraging that is. Like I took this course, advanced epistemology. Like epistemology is the theory of knowledge, right? So in this advanced epistemology course, we studied the matrix actually and wrote papers on it. So they traced it back to China. Back in the day, there's this guy called Chuang Tzu. I don't know how to pronounce it in Chinese. Jiang Zhu, probably. That's how to pronounce it.
Is it the guy that the Art of War?
No, not that guy. It's another one. He was a follower of Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu is like a Taoist, the guy that says, man, this crazy cool stuff. Actually, that the way that they say is the way is not the way. You know, that kind of thinking.
This is Chinese generational wealth of knowledge. What do Africans
Very
have?
Beautiful. Very beautiful, actually.
So go ahead.
Yeah. So Chuang Tzu was dreaming one time that he's a butterfly. And he was like hopping from tree to tree, sucking nectar and enjoying. And then he woke up. So the way he woke up, his friends saw him, he was thinking, he was startled, he was thinking. So they asked him, that Chuang Tzu, what is it? So Chuang Tzu said, man, I was dreaming that I'm a butterfly flying up and enjoying my nectar. And then I woke up, but now I'm confused because I don't know, who am I? Am I Chuang Tzu that was dreaming that I'm a butterfly? Or am I the butterfly now dreaming that I'm Chuang Tzu? You see, so it's from that whole idea of perception, how you see the world, who are you, and then it flows down later in Socrates. And if you've heard of the allegory of the cave, Socrates, he was saying that imagine a cave where there are slaves, they are fettered, they're chained, right? And then there's a fire behind them with guards. So what the guards do is they take like an apple and put like around the fire, so the prisoners see the image or the shadow on the wall. So when you take an apple, they will see the shadow of an apple. So you see that they are manipulated. Those prisoners can be manipulated because all what they experience is the shadow, right? Yeah. So they will take so now, but if one prisoner breaks out and then he comes out, first he will not be able to look at the sun, for example, because it's really bright, right? So he will need to start looking at the image of the sun on like a river. So when you look, after some time, you'll be able to look at the real sun and enjoy reality. But if you go back to that cave and tell the people that, look, you're a prisoner, this apple that you see, that's not even an apple. It's the image of an apple. They'll say you're mad. Yeah. So that's what they're saying. So is that idea actually that these guys took it and turned it into like the matrix? So it's the whole idea of like, and it's coupled in psychology with the brain in the vat, right? So I'm saying, well, it will be dangerous because if you try to tell people that they're in the matrix, they will nail you like how the nail cries or poison you.
When you have you not been seeing them nailing me on Facebook? People insult, people come and insult me that don't even know me. They don't even ask me questions. They insult me the whole day. I'm like, what? This guy doesn't even know me. But
So
yeah, at the same time,
you have to be careful. Yeah, you have to be
no,
careful.
but at
That's
the same
Socrates
time,
said that.
we have to look out for our people. Brian, we have to look out for our people. You know, you already know me. I'm ready to sacrifice for my people. Else, what am I doing in Boya? There've been rain, hailstone, bullets, COVID-19, everything. I'm still in Boya.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
True.
I could be in Washington D.C. with you. I could be in Palo Alto, even working for Zuckerberg, making my money and chilling.
Yeah,
What stops me? You know, the same thing you're saying. The first time I went to the US, I think in 2012, for IVL.
Yeah.
I told my brother that there was nothing in the US. That it feels like Cameroon. All these people I see in the media, it's not what it is. It's we're even happier in Cameroon than there.
Yeah, true. Mostly.
I spent 3 weeks. The taxes I paid was money that in Cameroon could buy a piece of land just in taxes because I was calculating it. I'm like, this is crazy. And most of the tax I paid was on food. You know? And then I look around, I'm like, whatever they have there, we have here. But you know what my younger brothers told me?
No, please tell me.
They told me they want to go and see.
That's nice. They will be good scientists there.
They want to go and see for themselves. So yeah, sometimes you need to just help people to see for themselves. You can tell them that, hey, you need to decolonize. Make them see why they need to decolonize. You know.
And then you get nailed, or poisoned like Socrates.
Brian, your volume seems low. Did I do something here?
Not sure. Can you hear me now? Hope I didn't mute myself.
I can't hear.
Hope I didn't mute myself. Let me see. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let me type,
yeah,
actually.
It's really low. What did I do here?
Sure.
That's okay.
Yeah, but I can hear you, actually. I can hear you well. Still low?
It's better. Okay, it's better. It's fine now.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, like if you try, even if it's your call, like even if you were made for that, when you try to open people's eyes, they would nail you.
But they need to start thinking that it's few, because I'm not asking for money. This is time I could spend with my clients or build the next big thing I'm building. But I choose to also share this knowledge. It's not because I'm crazy. They already know I'm not crazy. If it was in the early days, they'll think I'm crazy because everybody thought I was crazy. But now, no. So people should start thinking, why is he saying this thing? Because he's definitely not crazy.
Maybe they should watch The Matrix, because that's a really powerful movie.
People have watched The Matrix, but nobody understands it. They don't see the correlation between The Matrix and Christianity.
They need to smoke weed. They should smoke weed and watch it.
Neo was Jesus, and in the third part, he was nailed on the cross to save mankind. Literally nailed on the cross. If you watch Matrix at the end of part 3, he was on the cross, and people still did not understand.
Yeah, I need to watch part 3.
Our people need saving. So our people need a real life Jesus, not the mythological one that they're praying all the time. And how will they know? Jesus was nailed by his people, and some of us who are trying to save them, they also nail us, but they don't see the correlation.
Like those thieves, the one that was those thieves that they laid in together with, and maybe they were actually stealing the worth of like the oppressors. So anybody who wants to like help a cause, you would be against the oppressor, so they will catch you and nail you with the Jesus.
Okay, Brian, now back to you. How does it feel compared to when you're at Silicon Mountain, working with me and other guys around here? How is the working environment here compared to now that you're with the World Bank? How is it? What's the difference? What's the experience?
Yeah, it's from my experience, a lot of the Silicon Mountain experience is my foundation. You see, that's what actually I rely on mostly to perform. But I think that the Silicon Mountain, we don't have. I'm not trying to create this, man. Let me just do
No,
it, man. They should name me
remember
if they
the
want.
truth. Remember the truth. People that
Yeah,
believe in
right.
the truth cannot get hurt by the truth. You tell me the truth is better
Yeah,
because I will learn from it and
yeah,
then make it better. So yeah, go
yeah,
ahead. Just
yeah.
spit it
So,
out.
yeah. So for a start, there is the meetup. There's a meetup. How would I call it? Culture here. So when I left Silicon Mountain, I landed here that same week. My mom loaded my bus pass, and I got introduced to a whole chain of meetups. So I realized first that what I learned in like 1 week is what I would learn for like maybe 1 year in Cameroon. So because with the meetups, you meet people that have actually just like you, because I met you, I learned a lot. What I learned from you in a few weeks, right? I mean, in 5 minutes, what I learned from you is what I've been trying to learn in the university for a couple of months prior to that. You see, so for a start, the meetups here, you meet founders, you meet people that are working on actual stuff that do what they need to do, coupled with the whole Western mindset of like progress and pushing and meritocracy and things like that. So I started with that. I was learning really fast, learning about data science, Python, going to a conference, to a meetup and seeing somebody that works for the government and he's there on stage taking government data, building some kind of a dashboard, analyzing that data, and I go home and continue, you see. So now when I'll come to the forums we have on Facebook and maybe try to share or write some blog posts, which is technological, and share it, I don't see any engagement. So people are, so I started wondering, do we have these groups on Facebook just for the social aspects of it, or to look cool, like I'm into tech and like I'm a tech guy, but what are you producing? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So the from the very general point, the main difference is about production. Here, there's a lot of production through the very effective means that are done. But back home, Silicon Mountain, yes, there is the name of Silicon Mountain, but there's some people that I think that just want to belong, but not to build it. You see what I mean? So I've experienced that a lot. That's all my arguments that I'll make will be within that framework. So I can start giving you details, and if you want more.
That's cool. That's cool. I get it. You know, yeah, in Cameroon, most of us feel like this thing is about the fame, not the work. Somebody wants to be Mark Zuckerberg in 2 days. And then they want to build Facebook and launch and feel the prestige. And you know, when you start talking and people don't know much, you become a local hero. When you're a local hero, it gets into your head. But at the end of the day, after a few months, people realize you're just talking, no substance.
Yes,
yeah,
true.
it happens a lot in our communities, and young people feel because of the media, all you have to do is become famous, and whatever it takes to be famous is most important than actually doing the actual work. Yeah. So we have those problems, yes, but no matter how hard we try to curb it, it's still there. It's still there. You're right. There'll always be those people that are always going to be like that. They're just there for the fame. Oh, we're the Silicon Mountain guys, but we ask them, hey, what have you been able to do? They're like, okay, I code in Python, I code in C++, I code in PHP. I said, no, what have you been able to do? Show me something working. My hard drive got bad. That's where I had all my things.
Yes, so the thing
We've made all of that. We've made all of that. Remember, so when we met, I told you, Brian, what matters is doing something. It doesn't, nothing else matters. Results. It's only results that matter, nothing else. Even if people are insulting you, they're saying that they're doing all of these things. If you have results, they speak for you.
True.
I don't have to tell somebody I'm a software developer. No. People will see Joko.com and find out who built it, and then they'll come and then land on me. You know, that's different.
Yeah.
But you see people that spend their time saying, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. You look deeper. You know, if you put on a lamp and put it on top of a table, or even from a distance, people will still see that there is light somewhere, you know? So
right, true.
The light doesn't have to do anything. The sun doesn't have to do any work for you to know that it's shining. When the sun shines, we all see it shine. The sun doesn't come and say, hey, I'm the sun, I'm shining. No.
If I want to shine here, the sun doesn't say like, if I want to shine here, use respect. It just shines here like, hey, this thing shines so.
Man, nothing is shining there. What's that thing?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, right.
But there will always be those people that instead want to tell you that I can shine
Yeah, right.
The nice maker.
So yeah, so I mean, the bulk of my experience, and if I have to do analysis, is around that, and because the internet is there, like you said, yeah, the internet is there. You can jump in and start creating value, and there's already value there for you that you take some time, process it, and then you make something and put out there. So as the Silicon Mountain, there is, with all the skill we have and all the time we have, there's a lot of time in Cameroon, man. Like, that's one thing too, actually. There's more time. I would say maybe Silicon Valley is using a different clock. So there's more time. There's too much time there, actually.
What I noticed in the US, people are always chasing time. There is no time. You're always trying to catch the next meeting or the next appointment. It was a rat race for me. The first time, 3 weeks was a rat race. It was too engaging. I was from a culture of relax, but I got there. If you meet the boss in the morning, or you miss a shuttle from the hotel, so your next meeting, you have to pay a taxi, and that's not cheap. So, or you go and take the metro, subway, if there is, and that is some headache. So no, I'm not missing any morning shuttle. No, never. But it was a rat race, and I couldn't really. What I saw from the 50 Cent music videos, from the Hollywood movies, I couldn't really enjoy it. It was hotel room cab meeting, break meeting. Before you know it, I'm back in the hotel room at 6 p.m. I'm like, what? What just happened?
That's my
Before I could catch my breath, it was 1 a.m. and I need to sleep so that I'm up by 6, so that by 7, I'm in the shuttle to the next set of meetings. I'm catching the shuttle to the airport to fly to the next city so that I can catch the meetings. No, boy, I can chill at home, my friend. I can chill. I can walk in the streets with my shawl.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, we have time. We have time here, but at the same time, we don't have the market. We don't have the market. That's something else. The disadvantages of tech in Africa is we don't have the market.
Yeah, but we can create it, actually.
You can have 3 million people online using Facebook, but none of them has a credit card, or even maybe just about 500 of them have credit cards that they can easily pay for something. So you can advertise to 3 million Cameroonians to come on your website, but not up to 10 or even 2 will be able to pull out a credit card and pay. Because even amongst the less than 1% that have credit cards, they are so scared to put their credit card online because it thinks hackers can steal their money. So people are scared to. So at the end of the day, you build a platform, you have a lot of users, but these users, what's their value? Even if you run on ads, advertising is so that people click on the ads, go somewhere, and pay for something.
Yeah.
Let's say Jumia. Let's say when Jumia was still in Cameroon. Jumia could advertise on Facebook so that when people click on the ad on Facebook, they land on Jumia's website and they make purchases on Jumia's website. But once they don't make the purchases on Jumia's website, Jumia doesn't get revenue and they don't see return on investment for the money they spent on Facebook ads. But if 10,000 people left Facebook that day and went to Jumia and 5,000 of them bought something for at least 1,000 francs, Jumia will make 5 million from the advertisement they did on Facebook. And then Jumia will put in more money advertising on Facebook. And so if you have your platform, maybe let's say Aquajobs, and Jumia advertises on Aquajobs, and 2,000 people go to Jumia, and 1,000 of them buy something on Jumia, maybe at 10,000 francs. Jumia has made 10 million just because of Aquajobs.
Yes,
now that's an economy. Now, Jumia will not mind spending from that 10 million in revenue they made because they advertised on Aquajobs. They won't mind spending 3 million on Aquajobs the next week so that they can keep getting this 10 million. That's the economy on the internet. But where it breaks in Cameroon is the fact that you advertise, the people who go to the website, they will want to buy, but how do they buy?
Sure, no payment.
They don't have credit card, mobile money is not working online. So it doesn't scale. Well, you can advertise to 1 million people, 200,000 of them come. All you need to do is get more servers, and the 200,000 pay at least 1,000 francs. that day, and we're looking at 200,000 times 1,000, 200 million, and you can make 200 million like this.
That's much money, man.
Yeah, that's the economy we don't have yet, because there is no means. The final thing is the end means of payment. Yeah, we have a lot of opportunities, but we don't yet have digital seamless payment. Now you see why I'm saying I'm investing most of my time building POSA.
In fintech. Yeah, I see. And actually, that would be something interesting for us to talk. But let me talk again about this Silicon Mountain, so that those who want to nail me can really nail me. And I can enjoy getting nailed.
You should not worry about the truth. When you speak the truth, it's only evil people that get angry. And if they get angry, you know they're evil people, you ignore them. Because the real people will realize this is the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Yeah.
Go ahead, speak your truth.
Yeah, and another thing too is like collaboration, because a lot of like here, since you asked me, I'm almost comparing like here and there and using my experiences. Collaboration over there in Silicon Mountain, compared to what is here, I think is lacking. Like a lot of people want to go out alone, and that happens to, even if I want to compare the actual community of like Cameroonians or some Black communities, that's African communities here, there's always this, we tend to be too individualistic, almost more than Americans, in the sense that if you look at America here, you have the Spanish communities, the Indian communities, the Jewish communities, they're always together. You would see like a house with 10 Spanish people living in there, but one of them will end up paying, maybe spending $100 a month, you see, or maybe $50 a month. So he has a lot. If he's making $1,000, he has $900 to do other things, but that will be at the expense of maybe convenience, but he knows that he's on a mission. So now, if you look at other African communities, they prefer to be alone. Perhaps it's not easy to also share with other people because of, I don't know, other things. It could be like this man is from another tribe. But anyway, so so with that, you see that you can be making, let's say, $2,000, and then you end up spending $1,800 for housing that you will not live in most of the time. So we tend to be too individualistic. So I think that happens too with us down there in Silicon Mountain, where people don't collaborate. Now you are working with Otto for the fintech solutions. That's the kind of collaboration that you would rarely see for other projects. People want to come off as heroes alone instead of like coming with a team. So that's one other thing that I noticed. You have a lot of teams here. There's even a meetup I used to attend called Night Owls, where anybody working on anything overnight, you just meet with other people. And what will happen is this person will come in and say, hey, what are you working on? And I'll say, all right, it's like this, I catch the bus. And so I want to be able to know when the bus is in front of my house. So I'm trying to write this little app. And he says, oh, wow, that's interesting. What framework are you using? I did something like that. And you see, you guys get together, he'll help you. And then when he says he did something, so that made me to start working on this app. I'm trying to use PHP, and man, it's hard. I'm like, oh, I know a little bit of PHP. So you see that, so that happens a lot here. And from my experience in Silicon Mountain, when I was there, it wasn't like a norm. So that's another thing.
Yeah, but you just told me, give an example in Silicon Mountain of me and Otto coming together.
Yes. So, but that's the minority. I mean, like majority. You see what I mean? Because
it's a matter of time. People get enlightened. When people get enlightened, they lose ego and then focus on goal. What are people feel is we don't look at the goal. We always look at the. It's the same thing we said earlier, where people focus on the prestige. I'm a celebrity. I'm the Zuckerberg, and I'm saying, you know me, I write this code so that young girls or people around can admire them. You know,
the swag.
People start focusing on showing off and start focusing on the results, the goal. What are we trying to solve? We want to make payments online work. Must I be the boss in this solution? No, I just want to make sure it works so that everybody benefits. That's why in Silicon Mountain, again, there is nothing like a president or this is just a community which works like open source, like Pseudopodia. It's pseudo, yeah, it's pseudo form. It's just anything and everything. It's just a community of startup, entrepreneurs, engineers, developers. Even politicians now are looking at how they can make the community grow. We have a young parliamentarian, he's 34, I think. He's been pushing, the parliamentarian of Fakuna is a 34-year-old man. He's a boy I can talk to regularly now. And he's been trying to see how he can also contribute to what we have been building. You know? It's a collaboration. And yeah, you're right, your feedback is true, but it's been years you left.
Yeah. True. I mean, yeah, I have to put out what I think is the truth so that I can see the real truth.
Yeah,
too.
for sure. And I see what you mean, because this is very important. And I tell you why, because like I said, we focus a lot on the fame, not the product.
True.
But if people focus on the product, they will work together and make the product better, not fame.
True.
But if
that will bring you the fame. And that will bring you the fame at the end of the day.
But if everybody focuses on the fame, then everybody's a CEO.
Yeah.
But if everybody focuses on the product, then everybody is working as a team to make the product great, and the product is what's famous, not the people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So this, it's evolution. We learn, we grow, we keep getting, like what you have given this feedback is very pertinent. And then we need to look at the community and tell people, hey, young man, this is not for fame. This is for changing the lives of the people around us.
That's true actually. And I mean, if you focus on the product, the fame will come. At the end of the day, even fame that you wouldn't imagine.
But even when you're building a product, you can never care about the fame. You might know what's building Joko. Did you see me focusing on being famous?
No, but the fame came.
In essence, I hated being famous because you lose your life. It means I cannot go to that Chumbo house and feel free to eat my popov and beans in peace.
It will be like, sign my plate.
What to be able to do?
Sign my puff. Please, can you autograph my puff puff? You are going to eat. You want to autograph the puff puff.
So if people didn't know the price of fame, they would not want to be famous.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Back then, I didn't want to be. I was even rejecting TV interviews. So I was convinced to start taking some in 2015. Because I just want to code and make people's life better. And also live a comfortable life for myself so that I can feel free to do the things I love doing.
Yeah.
When you're famous, you start getting a box and you start living for people. No.
And then they start to see you up and down like a ping pong. Because if you're living for people, there are so many people out there. And then thanks to relativity, we are all different, right? Yeah. So the way I want to see you is not the way the other person wants to see you. So you want to be this person to me, that person. You end up being this confused juju.
Exactly. Let me give you an example what Leonard is facing now. Mr. Leonard, he's trying to live a simple life. His music is what is his product. He's focusing on the music and he's giving us good music. And now people start criticizing his attire. Like, is this attire that will give us the next best song?
Yeah, when I saw that post on Facebook, well, that should just make me say one thing too. Like, our Facebook community too is one thing that I think affects Silicon Mountain, because yes, the internet is like is free, right? That you can jump in and jump out as you want. So it's meant to be fair fundamentally, since you can jump in and jump out, but it's also easy for people to be behind keyboards with eating puff or whatever, the fish, whatever, with very oily hands and hitting on their keyboards and typing any kind of nonsense to those that are actually doing real work. You see? So now, and then there is this whole idea in Cameroon now where of tagging, right? Like, you get people tagged as bloggers, you get people tagged as whatever it is. And when I try to see what they're doing, man, like, it's just, I don't see any integrity. I don't see any depth, right? I hear of blogging and I can read a blog post and learn from it. I instead read it and get confused. Or like
the blogs now that are cool is how a celebrity took a private jet and ended up in a flying boat.
Yeah, and I mean stuff like that. So that can just throw you off the wagon. So I think that energy to affects like Silicon Mountain, because perhaps you're on Facebook and as someone trying to create value, you need to focus, right? But but the thing is, you need to contribute and also be helped, and information is really powerful. So there's some people that will have a relaxed mind because they've learned something. Let me give you an example. There is a blog post that you wrote a couple of years ago, F equals MA, force equals mass times acceleration. When I read that blog post, and the way you kind of used it to explain a lot of realities that we that we experience, it gave me a tool to look at my work myself. So when I see such a blog post, it helps me look at the future. It helps me look at the reality, and then that post can be a vehicle for me to go towards my goal. But if
just for the viewers, let's clarify what F equals MA is. Of course, it's force equals mass times acceleration, which is the force of a car equals the mass times the acceleration of the car or any moving object. But in this case, I used it in business. I was like, the force of a company is directly proportional to the people working there and how fast they are working, how they accelerate, how innovative they are. So the force of a company equivalents the mass of the company times the acceleration of that mass, which is what Newton said. And you can look at Facebook, at Google, at Microsoft, it applies. So yeah, just don't clarify, but go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for that. So by reading that, and then I'm like, oh, this thing that I heard in physics that actually Sam put me a little bit. I'm actually seeing it now live.
Contextualizing things. Our education needs to be contextualized.
Yeah, you're right. So at that point, like you see that I learned from it, and it can help me work even on the speed at which I work on things, you see. So, but now I bet you that like most of us silicon, and again, let me add one thing. Also, an ecosystem, the whole social media community or a country as a whole is an ecosystem of people with different mindsets. And you can take Boya, for example, and then space out. So in Boya, you have, in my generation, which came after yours, you would have people that were focusing on computers. Most of them were trained by you. You have people that started with on the route of music, let's say Salatiel,
most of them were trained by Emil Gomba of M1 Studios. People don't know that.
You see? And then you have people like Mr. Adrenaline that went the video route, right? So there's that whole ecosystem now where the video people are now making videos for the audio people who are producing sound, and then helping every other person. So there's a feedback loop, a feedback machine where this person produces, hands over, just like an assembly line.
An ecosystem.
Yes, thanks. Just like an assembly line, this person takes, he adds small Maggie.
Like
if we assemble Equang, if we assemble Equang, yes, this one person ties Equang, that other person adds small Maggie. So anyway, so that whole ecosystem where you who is working on something, you do your own part. And it's also a strategy used by military leaders. If you look at civilizations like the Turkish civilizations before the war or before some great battle, and even after, they'll call the poets, and the poets will come and inspire them, like, talk these great words that we're marching towards victory, or we'll meet even a mountain, we're gonna break it. And those people start feeling like they're lions, and then they get up and do the work. So so you see that whole feedback loop, that ecosystem where the various pieces support each other. I think in Silicon Mountain that is lacking too, because like you rarely see that, like those that producing information that can inspire people to go ahead, just like your blog post did for me and to many others that we may not know of. So that's another point that I've noticed.
Okay, makes sense. At least the community, if they're watching, I'm sure some are watching, they have learned.
Yeah. Yeah, so and then even for music, right? Like I once wrote this post on Facebook called, how did I call it? I was trying to analyze
Right.
the.
Sometimes you're too deep. You can't be going to people with so much deep, philosophical, abstract things. People get confused. You
I
always
can't
come up
help it.
too deep.
I
Yeah,
can't
but
help
you
it.
want you need to, in startups, what I'm trying to describe is you need to learn what they call product market fit.
True, right? Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's why somebody will say, ampe, 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 and then go and win an award and the whole of the country will jump. And then another person will give us, leave my name alone, go and blame God, ask him why all my enemies are in the mud, cooking over done, leave it in the pot, and then you will not win any award. Because this one is too deep for the people. You give us clinical jargons and metaphors and similes. It's only for the real people that love rap that will follow. Leave my name alone. Long game.
Yes,
Yeah, my
yes,
child
yes, yes.
went a kaba in the love room.
Yeah.
That was deep Cameroonian pidgin literature. But
Yeah.
yeah, my child went a kaba with the love room, sweat for daily, still playing Ndamba. This is deep, but it's hamper.
Yeah, tumutubu was calamatica
Yeah.
man.
Put up market feet. When you come with this, it's too deep, man. Break it down.
Yeah, thanks. I'll try to do that. But also,
we've been talking about this forever.
Yeah.
It's so hard for you.
Yes, actually, yeah. So, but the thing is that, I mean, as a systems creator and maintainer, you see that there are like several levels. It's like you could have like for revolutionary technology, you could have layer one that is really primitive. Let's say there are people in our field, in our computer field, there are people that do like assembly language kind of stuff that is like really low level and technical. And then there are people that will take what they've done and build on top of it with higher level languages like C. And then there are people that will even take that and build some higher level thing where you might just drag and drop things and you build your systems. So sometimes I see that I align, it's easy for me to go to layer ones because those are simpler for me. So I would go deep into those because I also hope that there are people out there that can take that and build on top of it. So that's why I go deep so that they can see exactly what it is. Sometimes.
This is true. But at the same time, when you go too deep and nobody can understand, then it's oblivion.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Well, I'll keep working on that. And thanks. I mean, you always just put it out there to me like that, like, man, this is it. And then I get to learn from it. But anyway, in that post, right?
It said there's a textbook that says you have to be a brother's keeper. So yeah. Or your sister's
Thanks.
keeper.
Thanks for that. Yeah, uncle or yeah, landlord's keeper. So, but anyway, in that article, I was trying to say that Cameroon is very rich, right? And I was using my knowledge of combination and permutations. If I have an alphabet of 5, if I have a alphabetic systems with 5 alphabetic characters, right? I could make 120 things, just 5 factorial. You see, so I was doing that analysis for those that are interested in music to inspire them to, so they can see it from a mathematical point of view and like some kind of quantitative analysis. So if you have five things, you can create 120 other things by combining them in different ways.
Okay.
So now look at the number of tribes that we have. We have like that number keeps changing every day. Sometimes I hear it's 300.
Let me just chip in because of my stupid.
Yeah.
The sound on the iPhone, when a message enters the iPhone, is 3 chords. It's 135. The people that Apple contracted to produce that sound are musicians, but they use maths to create that sound. It was not a vibration from emotions. It was mathematically solved. They randomly, look, the keyboard, the piano is made up of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's all. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And all of them are numbered 1 to 7. Most times we play 1 to 5. So it's funny, it started from C. So C, D, E, F, G. That's a C major scale. So 1 is C, 3 is E, and 5 is G. So that sound, if you go on the piano now, go look for the central middle C. You just, if you Google C middle C, You press middle C, count one step above, white key, press the third white key, and press the fifth white key in succession. You hear tukudum, which was, and then put in marimba. This was the sound they used. But they did 135, they did 145, they did 175, they did many numbers, but the one that sounded the most was 135. Then they sent that to Apple, and it's the key. Now, when you hear it anywhere, you'll know it. So what you're saying, that's the application, and it's in real life, it's around us. It's easy for us to understand it now because there is a real application that's been used for that. Yeah, you can use maths and play music. That's why mathematicians need to get the music. But you were saying you're going somewhere. Just continue.
Yeah, thanks a lot for pointing that out. I would actually try it. And so now with 5 things, you could combine them in 120 ways. Permutations, you could rearrange them in 120 ways.
So it could be 1 5 3. It could be 3 1 5. It could be, that's math, yeah. And these 3 chords can produce different sounds for message for your iPhone. But they chose one thing.
With 3 things, I think you will have 6 ways. You can combine 3 things in 6 ways, actually. So now, in Cameroon, let's assume that we have 300 tribes. I know I got this wrong, but it's an assumption. So if we have 300, we always start, some mathematicians to be like, assume a spherical cow, and then you're like, So you have 300 tribes, right? Each tribe has traditional dances. So let's say that they have each tribe has one traditional dance, right? So that gives you one base beat that you can start from, or some kind of a theme that you can start producing your beats from, right? So if 300 people work on 300 beats from 300 tribes, you already have 300 base beats, right? Interestingly, there is something I hear that exists in a musical remix. Then there is a remix of the remix. So now
we invented the remix, bad boy for life.
The remix of the remix, and then someone remix the remix. So anyway, so if we have 300 tribes, we have 300 base beats. So now let's take only 5 of those base beats and try to remix them, right? However, we could just, for simplicity's sake, with 5 of those, we could rearrange them in 120 ways, right?
Yes.
And then you can rearrange them again.
Yes. But it takes genius to do it right.
Exactly. Yes, that's fine. When we get to the part of genius, then we can start facing the challenges. As a scientist, I want to take one thing, look at it, put it out there, then take it, dive deep. So that's the trend of thought, right? With 5 things, you can now get 120, and then take 5 again of those 100, and you get another 120. Take 5. So, and I concluded, actually, or I realized that if that's the case, that Cameroon that we see, we could take over the world in music, man. Like,
Africa in nature.
So that's just Cameroon. That's just Cameroon. That's just Cameroon. So if it's like Nigeria, Togo, Gambia, Senegal. So from that, you see that there is a lot of value. It's like a gold mine of music and culture that we can tap from and start remixing. And people do that already. Look at Jovi. Jovi's beats are always like either he's mixing Bikutsi and hip hop, or he's mixing there's this one, is it this guy, he does banso hip hop. There are people
which minstrel. He just did chum chere.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. And then they're dancing, they're dancing like that. So you see that. Oh yeah. I love that one. So you see that with something like that, we can start mixing and making music and supporting this whole industry that, has no limit. Or even if there's a limit, we're only limited by how much you can imagine. So
yeah, but Brian, with music, it's not only maths and science, it's a balance. And to get that balance is where the genius comes. It's a balance between art and the science. What you talk about is the science side of it, which is good.
Exactly.
But at some point, the science has to be blended and resonated into constructive interference that creates the music with the art.
Yeah,
that's where it gets difficult.
Yes, true.
And then in all of that, you need to not end up with the business side of it, because you want to keep making good music that can take over the world, the people making that good music need to eat. They need to feed. So you need to sell the music. That's why Nigerian music is succeeding now, because they're able to sell. And most of Cameroon is mostly hobbies. They don't focus on selling. They just want to make good music. But what's good music if it's not sellable? Good music is what you sell and make money. And then the rest comes. Nothing else. A good product is what you sell and can make money out of it. The rest.
That's a practical year. Always practical.
Yeah.
Always practical.
It doesn't matter how good the code you write or how rich the music is. If you don't sell it, it's not good music. It's end to end.
You consume it yourself.
Yeah, that's not good music. Or your friends and family people like it and enjoy it, but nobody pays for it. It's not good music. Good music is rich in art and science and profit. Just like a good product is rich in arts and science and profit. Because if you want to sustain a good tech product for 10 years, within those 10 years, you need to be eating.
Yeah, if not, you
shut it down.
You're not even able to code.
Exactly.
You're not even able to code, man. Imagine when you're hungry and then you're trying to write this loop that there's another loop.
A hungry man will not write code. He will go and look for food.
Yeah.
It will be easier to be a farmer. I'll just go to a farm and harvest cocoyams, come home, grate the cocoyam. You can also say grate the cocoyam, put it in leaves, boil it and eat. Then I can say, oh, what was I thinking about again? I'm tired, let me sleep.
Yes. I remember when we used to take breaks, we go to Korobo, and then when we eat one bowl of Korobo, I feel as to sleep.
Who wants to eat food when you're already full, man? You have good food. You can say thanks to our ancestors. They gave us good food.
Yeah, the food is really, and that, like you said, that's also that science. And what they do is not really different from what the musician does, because they're combining the spices like Maggi, 1 cube of Maggi.
Hey, Maggi is not healthy. Most of our local meals don't have Maggi.
Oh, okay. Then if that's it, we use Jiangsang or Bobe.
Maggi is Maggi is actually poor man's flavor. You cannot buy chicken and put in your meal. You buy Maggi chicken and then spray it so that when you eat it, chicken was in the food. That's what Maggi is for, please. Your things are killing us with that thing. It's not healthy. It's chemical.
I'll go for Bobe then. Small and that pepper, that's one black pepper like that. How do they call that pepper? It's small like that. Yeah, I think it's Gakanga, one of those.
No, it's not Gakanga.
Anyway, I'll go for those spices, and then you mix them in different ways, and then people come and consume it and enjoy. But the short of it is that, yes, you said the sides of it, the science side and the art side. So I was trying, and I am contributing in that science side so that the art person can tap into it, because it's a bunch of energy that has just been put there, right? You tap into
maybe
it.
What I would advise is look for the art person that you can work with, not just write the theory. Sit with them and you guys do this melange and then share the final product. The final product can inspire a producer in Cameroon now who can now use it to make the next urban hit in Cameroon. That
was for the country. That was for the country,
Exactly. So you can share it, and a producer can stumble on it, and then the next hit they're producing, you inspires them, and then just credit you for your work and all that.
Yeah, so is that kind of a system that I was trying to contribute to, where you have people at different angles, but they work together. So the same way that the poet will inspire the soldier, and then the soldier would ensure the security of the poet, and then the cook will cook to energize the soldier or the lawmaker. And you see that ecosystem of properly functioning society, even if it's virtual. So now I think that's how these bloggers or this writing part of the ecosystem affects the part that are also producing other things like applications and music. There should be that symbiosis where they produce things that will inspire them, instead of some kind of things that when you read it, it just knocks you out of whatever inspiration that you had, if that makes any sense. So that's another long and stupid
No, but at the same time, the bloggers are looking for clicks. so that they can sell adverts and make small money. Because, like I said, advertising online in Cameroon is not yet very lucrative because the people that see the ads don't have a purchasing power. And even if they have the purchasing power, they don't have the means to pay.
Yeah.
So yeah, the ads are very, look, clicking on an ad in Washington, DC, maybe the person that has the website will make $2 every time you click on an ad on the website. Because when you click and end up on Walmart, you might buy something on Amazon. Maybe some ads from Amazon, for example. But in Cameroon, if you click on it and end up on a blog, all you do is read. The bloggers at some point will not see any return on investment, they'll stop advertising.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. Complicated.
Well, I'm tempted to say, well, let's keep praying, but anyway, let's keep building these solutions.
Let's keep building.
Yeah,
this is how we have to build. Let's keep building.
Let's build actually, if I put my hands like this, I can't build. So maybe yes, I schedule it, I pray later.
This should be a symbol of building, not wishful thinking. And now this is a symbol of wishful thinking.
Yeah, right. So about this building and payment. Yeah, payment is really a difficult issue in Cameroon and in Africa, like we've seen and you've said. So remember, now I will put your legs in another direction, and I know that I know your capabilities. That as practical as you are, you probably help me understand it better, and those that are out there too. So about payments, there's a revolution now in the blockchain technology, right? So if we can talk about that. So there's a revolution now. It's just like 10 years old, and it's really promising from what I see. So I think we in Cameroon and maybe Africa in general, we could utilize that to build very scalable and easy to participate in kind of an ecosystem. Acorn is doing that actually. Acorn has started a whole platform for creating value and exchanging value.
I think it's like the Acorn or something.
Well, it's a whole platform. Acorn is just a piece of it. So Acorn is just the token that you can use to transfer in value. So when it comes to like our ecosystem, don't you think it would be good to have this to participate in the cryptocurrency space, because it's very democratic. We would have the power to create our own tokens and small communities that people can participate in their own ways, even if it means just consuming value, but we'll be able to exchange these values.
Well, theoretically, yes, it's good. It has a lot of merits and benefits. You know, we talk about this. Now let's talk about it again. But not in the live. So theoretically, yes, it's good. Good, solid technology, safe, secure. But the fact that it is decentralized, let me repeat the last word, decentralized. That's where you have your problem.
Okay.
In Cameroon,
that's the creme de la creme.
What is the government talking about? They keep struggling so that it's centralized. In essence, if you decentralize money in Cameroon, you're going to have to fight with BIAC, and it means you have to also fight with the French military. You know how this goes. Yeah. So they want a central monetary system. But if you decentralize money where the data about my money lives on my server and the government cannot have access to that, and if you have 1 million people and the data about their money is in their server, it means the central government cannot know the money they have and cannot control it, and they have lost control. And if you make the government lose control, what do they do to you? They're a criminal. You're going to jail. So, the more things like blockchain makes money decentralized, makes data decentralized. Even, for instance, birth certificates, death certificates, and marriage certificates. I have a contract with some guys, a body in Douala, where we're building a technology to help people in something related to this. But if you want to make birth certificates in a database, you cannot make decentralized database even at the level of the council. No, you want it all centralized in your own name. So if you're again saying that, let's have a blockchain of all people. When you have your birth certificate, death certificate, marriage certificate, just join this blockchain system, install this app, snap it, and boom, it's in the blockchain, and we handle it for you, and you never lose it, and people can easily reference yours. The day this body in Yaoundé that has maybe 60 billion in budget to run this project realizes it, what would they do? You have made them realize that what they're taking 60 billion for is actually done for almost nothing, because the people that are putting their certificates in this system handle the space that this certificate are stored in. So you don't even need central server. You don't even need the management. And the fact that it will keep this certificate secure for them, most people will use it because once they lose the certificate, they can always access through the blockchain. You can always access it any day, anytime. They just have to reinstall the app and have access because it's stored in their addresses. But now, the people that are making 60 billion every now and then to run this project, what would they do to you with that kind of money that you want them to lose?
Well, in the truth, whatever that means, or a truth, is that we're in a capitalistic environment, right? And if we really want to go by the tenets of capitalism, then that's competition, and then they have to readjust, right? And being fair. I know practical man, tell me, please. Yes.
They'll look for you and lock you up. And let's see how they blockchain will work again.
Yeah, but anyway, the government itself can adopt that in the sense that
tell you that you want to be a scammer. If the government can adopt that, but it will be way cheaper, right? Than if you just
exactly.
Do you think they want it cheaper? Why would they not pay local coach money to coach the team and they prefer a foreign coach? Because when it's more expensive, there is more to steal.
You see why I say the whole country, some kind of lake should just come and drown all of us, so that we should start afresh. You see, like start from nothing.
It's difficult, but we need indigenous people like us, so that by the time things change, we'll be ready to rapidly make it happen.
Yeah, because even the France CFA can be tokenized. Imagine that.
You want to decentralize it there? Okay.
No, just hear me out. Imagine that the government itself tokenizes the France CFR, right? So you could have banks or kiosks, whatever, however you pronounce it, where you could exchange your physical token to get just like how banks work with cards, right? So you exchange it, you give them your banknotes, and then they give you back the electronic version, which is just a number. So the government can still tokenize the France CFR, so people who have this their wallets that they can handle it digitally. So now we would have a lot of people that can participate in the virtual world or on the internet, because we can now start exchanging that value using these blockchain technologies. But the nodes can be maintained by the government. And it's easy now to interact with other blockchains, because you just need to come up with the medium or with the framework of exchange, like one France CFI, I mean, it's like $600, no, the other way around, and stuff like that. And then we can start going. Someone in a Condotiti who planted what can they plant? Palm,
cassava.
Palms, for example. Yeah, cassava.
Cassava farming in Condotiti.
Exactly. He plants cassava. He wants to sell to someone in Yaoundé. He doesn't really need to go to a bank and start going through all that procedure. They can always just do their transaction from that phone by using the franc CFR. So systems like that will help us.
Brian, it's not, you don't need blockchain to do what you described. Mobile money does that.
Okay. Yes, but again, but the thing is, you see the advantages of like blockchains, right?
The advantage of blockchain is that it's secure, it's decentralized, it's easy, it's difficult to hack all accounts at once. You can hack a few, but you cannot hack all at once, because they don't live on the same space. They live in different, it's distributed across devices. There are 1 billion accounts, they live in 1 billion devices, and they just reference the next account and the previous account. But to query all, but that is exactly the problem I'm telling you. The governments will not like that. If I was working for the central bank, I wouldn't like that.
Okay.
The one that I have access and I control the money, how money works in the system, so I can fight money laundering and I can fight the terrorism. Do you not see how difficult it gets? Do you not see how complicated it gets?
I don't see it actually. You have actually made me to see that if we can fight terrorism, what have they been doing then? Because with the system that is there, we still have those things. It's not like they're not there. They're there already.
They might be curbing it But listen, if you're using blockchain, you can wire 1 billion francs into somebody's chain and the person buys guns and the government doesn't know
Yes,
what's happening.
yes, but actually, if and that brings us to like this philosophical point about the role, the essence and role of history, right? History is like this snowball that is rolling downhill and absorbing like other snow particles and getting bigger and maybe larger. So now, if with the blockchain is actually also plays a role of that history. You see, it's taking all of that history. So if the government adopts that, it's easy for you to actually boost the economy by creating forensic accounting, forensic teams that can actually go look at that history and see this 1 billion, and they can always trace it and try to get the people. And that's if it's done right. So there are many advantages in this technology that can really help. And
well, Brian, if I was president, you won't have an issue with deploy blockchain, but I am not.
Yeah, anyway.
So maybe start praying for me to keep building my knowledge and wealth locally, so that when I become president, I'll understand local realities. And no, I'm joking.
But I think you'd be a good president. Well, politics should be for you. Politics should be for you. There's this dude that said, I think the ancient Greeks realized that. Even, let me not say ancient Greeks.
The ancient Greeks stole knowledge from Egypt.
So, exactly. That's what I want to go back to. So they realized that, but now if we look at it, they said politics is like the greatest art. You see, so and it's good for us to participate in it because politics can determine what you eat.
The person that doesn't like telling lies cannot be a politician. So.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But true politics, then if they say
politician, you just go there and tell people the truth. Then you cause riots and havoc.
And the whole year knee you. So anyway, so I think you'd be a good politician in the right sense of the word, because if true politics,
I need to sell my soul and start telling lies. Yeah. Issa Shuma was a very good politician. Issa Shuma, I miss him.
I used to hear the name, but I knew I know very little about that dude. Right? So, but anyway, if you be a good politician because you're practical, right?
I could be a good advisor to the politician.
So you'll be the politician through the services of advice or advisory, you see.
Yes.
But they said
it could be like a council of advisors that advise the politician. So a couple of us, like a brain to advise the politician, but to be the politician, the skill sets are different from what I have. It's about being out there, wanting to it's acting. It's not really, most politicians, the real guys are just actors. Because then the advisors do all the work.
Oh, I see. So which means is that currently the problem is the advisors?
I think so. I think it's deeper. Okay. The whole system it's not set up. It's a colonial system. Like I said, all colonial things need to be decolonized. We are currently still living with colonial era trained leaders. So what do you expect? It's colonial thoughts, colonial processes, colonial direction, not local directions, not local processes, not local innovation in terms of politics, in terms of governance, nothing. It's all about what the colonizers gave us. That's why we keep having foreign advisors come and keep advising us on what next.
I see. So how can we then bring change then? How can we how is someone then in such a system, let's assume that you are my advisor because I want to come and bring change. what will you have me do?
Well, we need to start the process of localizing everything. Everything needs to be localized. Governance, religion, technology, construction, education, information, media, everything needs to be localized. Okay. And it's a process. It's like building a software. You try, you test, you learn, you make it better. You try again, you learn it better. So it needs to be continuous iteration of localizing everything.
Yeah,
Why don't we have local knowledge in road construction so that we can tar all the roads by using local, way cheaper and better? Because we need roads so that people can have farm to market roads, right? Then people are sick, they can go to the hospital.
True. I see. And actually, that sounds ideal, because even in like programming, functional programming in particular. Can you hear me? Hello? So I will just use that opportunity and chill a little until Churchill can join back. It looks like it's from my portion of the screen, he's frozen. So when I get his voice back, we can continue. Are you there, Elephant Boss? So I think we're having some technical difficulty, but what Churchill was saying about like localizing everything, it makes a lot of sense, because even in developing software, a very good technique or one good paradigm for building software is something called functional programming, where we use the idea of mathematical functions. You have a small function that does one thing, and what they discourage is global variables. There is this one thing contributing to everything about its essence to the whole system. So they encourage local variables instead, so that each function has things that are local to it. You can take it and then tweak it to reflect its essence. And when you have global variables, the main problem that you face is if you change the thing at the global level, every other person, even if it's not relevant to them, will get that change. And that's how the system starts crumbling. So yeah, so Churchill is giving a very interesting point, actually. So if anyone is watching, I think it's a good time then for us to like ask questions. I realize I'm just looking at the comments and I don't see any questions. Please feel free to ask questions. And if I'm within the capacity to answer, I would do while we're waiting for Churchill to reconnect. Okay, great. So Churchill will be back pretty soon. What is this thing? Link for Churchill. And right, yeah. Wait. Yeah. You're back. Yeah.
Well, I'm in 237. That's Cameroon for you. Lose connection anytime, man.
That's what we need to change. And yeah. Anyway, when you spoke about localization, and when you were off, I just chimed in a little to say that in functional programming, for example, is global variables are discouraged. Global variables are discouraged, and local variables are encouraged.
Global variables, religion, global variable, education, global variable, media, global variable. How else can we have a scope?
Yeah, and when you change,
we just took programming. How else can we have a scope? A local scope.
Yeah, and the disadvantage with the global thing is that when you change it there. First, you need to start. You need to make it synchronous, right? So that you can control the changes. When this person is changing it, he has to lock it and then unlock it so that we don't come and corrupt somebody's thing. And then we spend time handling how we change things instead of just doing the actual work that we want to do.
Get it? So it takes a long time because the change comes from the global. The global variable changes first before it synchronizes to local, the local scope. Yeah. And then you have to lock it before you use it. So by the time you get to the time that Cameroon has to use it, like maybe 5 years have passed.
And then, but whereas with the local one, if you have a clean interface, the global will just be the sum total of the locals. So if one local wants something from the other guy, you just use your API, and then you guys exchange and then bring
we have now global variables, and each country is a function with the local scope. So by the time the first country is using that global variable locally, the rest have to wait.
yeah, right.
Well, it was a functional programming, but this is just to say that the colonial systems, media, education, too slow for us. What you and I studied in the 90s in secondary school, I'm sure is what the kids are still studying today in the secondary school. Not much innovation, not much localization, not much local realities in our education. So a lot of frustration and a lot of locomotion, but no innovation. So it's just an abomination in your crazy.
You're a rapper, man. You see how you're putting all this rhyme scheme like locomotion and So anyway, thanks for that. I think I've observed a lot from this chat, and we can chat forever.
30 minutes, like it's 3 hours.
Yes, and you see that's the beauty of these things, because and it shows us one important power of the internet. The internet actually enforces some kind of democracy, because before this would have been like a CRTV kind of a chat, and then
it's not democracy, it's not decentralization. I'll tell you what, democracy is a bad thing for poor people.
I accept that, actually. And tyranny actually emerges from democracy.
Actually, what poor people need is dictatorship with some checks and balances. Yes. Funny. like China. It's a dictatorship with checks and balances based on merit. But we must not be China. No, we must not be China. It's just to learn. But yes, democracy is not good when people are poor, hungry, illiterate. You don't give them democracy because then that'll be democracy of the stomach. Their votes only count when you give them rice and give them oil and give them clothes.
Yeah, you don't teach them how to fish. And that's one thing Thomas Sankara used to say, like when foreign aid came, he said, no, give me caterpillars. Like don't come and give me bags of rice here. Like give me caterpillars, teach me how to fish.
Well, yeah. Well, Brian, what are you doing? This is cool. You should do it often. So that at least weekends people can watch, chat, fireside.
Yes, exactly. And
we also plan and share a drink over the internet.
Yeah, you're right. Me, I'm drinking water. Having my biscuit in a big jar and stuff. Yeah, and this is cool because the internet gives us the internet. What I was trying to say is the internet democratizes a lot of things.
The word like democracy should not be used in this case. I think it decentralizes a lot of things.
Hear me out. You see what I mean? So the originally, right, maybe just a few people had the channel to support something like this where we chat. It could be like a radio station that's owned by the central government. Well, it's decentralization, as you're saying, right? Yes, the government will have like the TV station and we'll need to go through them to support a chat like this, of which they will be telling us the amount of time that we can spend, maybe 15 minutes, and we have to squeeze in everything. But with the internet, you can jump in, create your own space and do it the way you want. So that's why I say like it democratizes that whole experience, because now here we are chatting and people can jump in and out as they want and we're not forcing it down their throats. You see, so the people have the power, jump in and out, and we also have the power to make this. Are you there? So it looks like Churchill dropped out again. We're actually rounding off. So I hope he connects back so that we can conclude. He can give us a word or two from the rich tapestry of experience that he's had. So we can tap from it and then make a change. Again, we're waiting for Churchill to connect, and then we conclude. Okay, admit. Yeah, we have you back. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Can you?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can hear you. So anyway, thanks very much, Elephant Boss, for doing this. It's like really inspiring for me. And it's actually steered me towards the direction that I would love to do this more and have you more on this endeavor. And I guess I don't have to give my reasons. Even those that have experienced it and that will experience this will get to see for themselves. So before round off, like, what is it that you would like to put out there? So be it the politicians, the kids, the fathers, whoever is listening, what would you like to put out there for them until we meet again?
Well, people need to enjoy hard work, and they should know that hard work pays. The only way to succeed is to work hard. The rest is just some catalysts or ingredients, but the sauce is hard work. So we need to learn that the only way to succeed is to work hard, and we need to enjoy working hard. That's the only way out. Yeah, that's my 2 fans.
Okay. Thanks very much. Thanks very much. These are, like you said, these are signs for building stuff. So thank you very much.
Let's build.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you very much, Churchill. Everyone does Churchill for you. You can't stop learning from him. So thanks for participating until we meet again. Bye.
Well, thanks. A bit of the internet glitches. I guess it was very smooth. Thanks a lot,
Yes.
and keep doing what you're doing. And bye bye.
Amen. Bye.